All right, everyone. So I am going to do a short video on understanding, or at least visualizing, keys in one way. This one's like kind of like on a grid. So I'm going to get right into it to keep this video kind of short here. So let me switch over and let's get going. Okay. So think about music as being those 12 notes that we know. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Normally we wouldn't label them this way, but we are just for now. So we have these 12 notes. If we play them, all those 12 notes all the time, it'd be kind of weird. It's too many notes in a lot of cases. So we're going to reduce the amount of notes that we have using the good old whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half method. And that is the basis of our major scale. So the green are, they'll say the white notes on the piano, and the red are the black notes on the piano. At least this method works, and I mean it works everywhere, but that's one way to visualize it on the piano in the key of C, is all the white notes, none of the black notes, okay? So all you do is apply this same pattern, to those numbers, and you're left with the first, third, fifth, sixth, eighth, 10th, and 12th notes of those 12 notes. Don't worry about memorizing those because they don't matter really, because we don't refer to them with those numbers in music. But just think about it that way. We're eliminating some of those notes. We're eliminating some notes from those 12 tones. Okay, so now let's look at it in terms of real notes, in terms of our common Western notation. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and so forth. Just a reminder that there's no E sharp and there's no B sharp. And that's where those half steps lie when eventually when we apply that whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half method. So we still have the same 12 notes, but we're going to take our little pattern here and we're going to apply it to the same 12 things that we have there. And if you notice, all those sharp notes have been covered up. We're not going to use them. And that's our C scale. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and back to C eventually for the C scale. We're skipping over the C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp notes. And that's our C major scale. So the question now is, how do we apply that or create the same sound starting on a note other than C? Well, we take those 12, here we are. So we maybe start our pattern on G instead of C. So now we're going around the musical alphabet, but this time starting on G instead of C. We take that same pattern and we just put it right on top, and you'll see that all we're left with is an F sharp, but notice no F. So the key of G has one sharp, an F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. As far as our 8 notes of our scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, back to G. If I didn't play that F sharp, it would sound a little weird. Not a bad thing, that gives us our blues sound. There's that F natural instead of the F sharp. Anyway, that's where we are with that. So we have one sharp in the key of G and F sharp. Okay, so now from left to right we have 12 different, what we refer to as chromatic scales. So that's all 12 notes: C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B. That's the top row. But we start them from different spots. So if you look at the second space now, we have G, G sharp, or excuse me, the second row, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and so forth. So what we do is we take that same pattern, we can apply it to the whole thing. And the key of C leaves us with C, D, E, F, G, A, B. The key of G leaves us with G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. The key of D leaves us with G, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. And if you go down through those different rows from left to right, you'll see that each key ends up having one more sharp than the other until we get around to that B, G flat, D flat area, where we actually switch over to flat, which is a whole nother lesson within itself of why we do that. But that's how keys work. So the key is a representative of that pattern: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Apply to whatever starting point you're on. So whatever starting note you want to apply that pattern to. Okay, so that, everyone, is how keys work in a nutshell. So that's, you know, you're not going to memorize anything from that video, but that's a good explanation or a good way to think about why we learn our keys. Because if you can just recall that F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, wait, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, yes, exactly, is a key of E, for example, faster than I can, then you're going to be making music that much sooner. So I don't want you just memorizing keys as some sort of arbitrary piece of information. But you should understand why, you know, memorizing would help. With that said, I also encourage the use of that whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half method to apply to any key that you can construct, rather than just having to memorize as well. So if you forget what the sharps are in the key of E, you can think, excuse me, E, whole step up, F sharp, whole step up, G sharp, half step from G sharp is an A, whole step up from A is a B, whole step up from B is a C sharp, whole step up from C sharp is D sharp, half step is back to E, right? So I'm able to construct that scale as well as recall it from memory. So if you ever forget it, you can do it again, and that will help strengthen your memory. Think about it as hashtags on this piece of information, or say a tweet. The more hashtags you have, the more things you can look up to find that tweet. Well, think about this idea or this piece of information as having more than one hashtag or tag to it so that you can recall it with better ease. If you can recall the key of E with 15, 20, 30 different hashtags or tags, then you're going to be more likely to recall what the key of E is, right? But you can't do that unless you understand how the key of E is constructed. And it's, again, whole, whole, half, whole, whole, half, starting from E using the 12 notes of our musical system. Hope that's helpful. Again, you won't be able to memorize all this stuff right away from this video, but hopefully it'll help you memorize with lessons in the future. All right, have a good rest of your day. Hope you enjoy it.